So are you in LA now or are you in Buffalo?
So I came back to Buffalo as soon as everything of mine got canceled.
Yeah.
And so it was like I was supposed to do a show first week of March and that got pushed back. And then the show I normally do, it got delayed 2 days before you're supposed to start and without like further notice. So I was like, instead of staying in LA and in my apartment doing nothing, I'm like, I was gonna get back home till like the fall anyway. So I
Mhm.
decided to just come back and try to pick up some work out here.
Now, are you staying with your family back in
Yeah,
Buffalo? Yeah. I know. Do you know Hannah Waltz? Are you familiar with who she is?
it sounds really familiar.
Well, she does a lot of she mainly works in like the art department, but she went out to LA, I think, when did she leave? Sometime last year. I'm going to say the end of last year. And as soon as everything happened in her movie, I mean, pretty much all of Hollywood is really just like on pause right now. So she,
Yeah.
instead of staying out there, I might as well come home with my family. She was like, because if I get sick, like, or something happens, I can't make any money. I'd rather be with my family. So I feel like a lot of people kind of just was like, I'd rather be home right now.
Yeah, well, that's how it was. Like we heard rumors that they were gonna do travel bans in and out of like LA and everything. And so we were like, we're stuck till further notice
Hmm.
with no like both mine and my girlfriend's jobs got canceled for like at least 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, it's gonna take that long for um any of like the assistants or whatever we end up doing to kick in. So I was like, go home, start with like a week and a half, see what happens, and then it's like I started off. I was like, well, worst case, I'll just do some bartending shifts here and there at some friends' places I know, and then of course within a week and a half of coming back, that all got shut down.
Yeah.
And
Everything
so
like closed. Besides essential businesses, it's like everything is just
yeah, it's just all shut down. So it's like at this point, it's just kind of do whatever you can and just ride it out and
waiting.
get some other work done in the meantime.
Yeah. So, I mean, originally it's like I think everybody was I used to hear people all the time like, oh, 2020 is my year, it's about to be
Oh,
a great year. And I was like, well, when you said it's a movie, did you see those movies? They're like, well, what movie was you talking about? I Am Legend or something?
oh
Like,
yeah,
we did not expect it to go this way. But I mean, it's not a good thing, but the only thing I can say is literally everybody is kind of going through the same thing. It's like not just a couple people in one industry, like everybody over the entire world is going through a lot of the same things. So it's like if you can find any type of comfort knowing that you're literally not alone, like somebody else is going through the exact same thing as you.
oh yeah, and it's like between the East and West Coast, like all my friends that are in production, some are doing corporate stuff, some are doing freelance, some are doing shows and things like that. And it's like everybody shut down, and even from all the Facebook groups and all the job boards and stuff, is like everybody's helping everybody figure it out
Yeah.
because like the more experienced ones, I think it's kind of like the first time too, where like usually if you see shutdowns, like parts of the industry get shut down at a certain time. It's not the whole thing at once.
But this
So it's like if you get union strikes, like the older guys and the more professionals get shut down, and all the indie films still work,
Mhm.
or if the season slows down, it's usually the indie people kind of out of work, and the older guys still working on the union stuff. This is kind of the first time where I think like everybody from producers, everybody top down is just all out. So they're all just helping each other figure it out.
Yeah, and they don't know what to do. I mean, it was crazy because like I have the podcast, and then I think the other day Kyle messaged me something on Instagram. But at the time, I just wasn't like in a place thinking about it. Like I was just like, this is. I had just moved to Atlanta. I mean, I'm still here now, and I was like, am I gonna have to pack up my apartment, go home? I just wasn't even thinking about like talking to people. And then yesterday, I was like, you know what? No, I think it's a great idea. Like we're all kind of going through the same thing. I mean, some people like technically, I'm still on payroll, like I'm still working from home, so I'm not going to take that for granted at all. But every day, I don't know if this is like, all right, guys, this is it, So I
Yeah.
feel nervous, but it's like, I'm still just sitting in my apartment like everyone else. So I was like, I do want to like see how everybody is doing and like see what everybody is going through, whether it's like working in a completely different field or just writing or just see kind of what everybody's up to. So it's like, I don't need a ton of your time. I just want to chat and see like how you are holding up during this time.
Oh yeah, and that's what I think kind of from a few friends that I've talked about too. It seems like everybody's kind of hitting like a reset of like, because everybody I have talked to too, like you were saying, this is kind of like the week where everybody's deciding to get back into their projects.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody's took like a 2 week break of like, I'm just gonna relax
This
and
happened.
just, yeah, deal with whatever's going on, get my stuff in order. And then once I'm just kind of like, because it's a weird kind of stress. It's like different than people are normally used to. It's not like, you gotta drop your rent off in the mail by a certain time and like you're worried about everyday stuff. It's like a different kind. So I think everybody's kind of took a 2 week break and now they're starting to get back into their projects and pick things back up again or learn that new skill or things like that.
So you mentioned earlier that, your projects kind of got pushed or delayed. When did you decide to come back to Buffalo? Like, do you remember what date it was when you decided to come back home?
It was pretty quick. I know, because I live right on the border of Hollywood, West Hollywood,
Hmm.
and so it's pretty dense in there with people and everything. And I'm trying to think what day it was. It was maybe the second week in March. We were kind of following the news, and it was picking up and everything. And then on like Wednesday, we kind of had a talk of like, well, we got to see how bad it's going to get. If everything does get shut down, because as of, I think it was like, I forgot the specific date, but it was like on a Wednesday, we were still supposed to go ahead with Ninja. I work on American Ninja Warrior, and we were supposed to go ahead with it. And
Are you cam op on that?
I'm sorry?
Are you one of the cam ops on that?
Yeah, so I do multiple hats. I do the AC work, the second unit camera work, and the media managing. So
Oh,
it's kind of like I do the hometown stories.
mhm.
And so when everybody runs the course, they pick so they'll run the course in 6 regions. I think last year was like LA, Tacoma, Washington, Baltimore, Oklahoma City, maybe Atlanta, and there was one more that I can't remember. But about 120 people run the course. And then they will pick about 10 to 12 of those people to do stories on, the hometown stories.
Mhm.
And so then there's 2 hometown teams. We split the contestants down the middle. They take 5, we take 5, and then we go to wherever they live and do their training. And so,
Cool.
yeah, so we end up going, I think last year we went to about 22 states in 3.5 months.
Do you like working on the show?
Oh yeah, it's a blast because we're on a small team of 4. And so like we have a main camera guy, a producer, sound guy, and then I do all the multiple roles of like the AC, media at the end of the day, second camera during filming and stuff like that.
I remember when I think you messaged me, I don't know I think it was last year, and you were in Europe doing another show. What was it? You said it was Nat Geo?
Oh yeah, so that show is called Race to the Center of the Earth,
Hmm.
and it's National Geographic's first reality competition, and it's the creators of The Amazing Race put it together. And
Okay.
so it's like think Amazing Race meets Bear Grylls, kind of like that, where 4 teams have to race to one point on the globe from different corners.
How long was that project?
So that we did about 2.5 weeks of prep because I was one of the only LA locals for the prep because this is where the home base was.
Hmm.
All the other camera ops and crew came from all over the world, country. So I got to get on the prep for about 2.5 weeks, and then I was in Siberia for about 3 weeks,
Super dope.
and I can't tell you the second place I was at because it's gonna
Trust
be
me,
in the show.
we all know how that works. It's like I can tell you
Yeah.
some stuff, but we can't tell each other everything.
Yeah, it's supposed to be airing. I think first week in June is the rough date I heard.
What's the name of it again? One more time.
Race to the Center of the Earth.
Okay, I'm gonna have to. And it's on National Geographic.
I believe it'll be on National Geographic. Yeah,
Okay, I'll have to check it out.
yeah,
You'll have to remind me. I'm gonna write it down so I can check it out when it comes out.
yeah. That was the most insane project I've ever done in my life.
I mean, getting to travel and go to all these places too is like a bonus.
Yeah, well, the thing is too is because it's such an intense trying to get adventure to begin with. What people don't realize, like from The Amazing Race or these other kind of shows, whatever you see the people doing, the crew has to do as well, and so they have to film it while they're doing it. So you got to think of like Bear Grylls is rappelling down a mountain. There's a camera guy
Coming down.
or 2 or 3 coming down the mountain with them, or in different positions,
Yeah.
or in boats in the water at the bottom. Like it's all planned out and it's all filmed, but most of the time the crew has to do it at the like with whoever's doing it. So The Amazing Race is a good example. So I have a few friends now that work on that. When the contestant hits to go left instead of right, but they take the wrong turn and it delays them for 4 hours, well, guess who's working an extra 4 hours? And guess who misses their flight that they're supposed to be on for the competition? And now who's sleeping in an airport filming them, because it's all part of the show. And almost like it never kind of stops in a way.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even think of it like that.
Yeah. And so I was doing AC work on that. And then I was also the DIT. So I would film, either do kind of like, again, second unit camera work if we needed the coverage for certain things. Because there's times where the contestants were rappelling down, a mountain. I think there was one event, not to get into too much detail, but it was like a 1,000-foot cliff rappel. So there's camera ops spread throughout the whole mountain, but we need people at the bottom, at the top, a few specialty climbers in between, things like that. So I would op sometimes, AC, but then at the end of the day, we had 3 main camera ops, anywhere between 2 to 4 B cams going, and then we had 10 GoPros. And so then I had to do all the footage for that because we started filming the next day. And so I would have about 6 to 8 hours of footage of transfers at the end of each night of filming.
And it was just you? They only
It
had
was just me.
What? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I was pulling about, I think my shortest day was about 16 hours. It was anywhere between 16 to 20.
That's insane.
Yeah, but I went into it like it was my first big international show, so I wasn't too sure how it worked.
Mm-hmm.
I was going a lot off of the camera ops, and we had another AC with me, but he only did camera because he had to do with multiple camera guys, where I would only have to be with one. And I kind of take their lead. They've done more international things, and they show you the ropes, because if they don't help you, it's not going to help them. So everybody in those situations becomes very close.
Yeah.
And you hit this kind of wind after a few days of not sleeping and jet lag, and
you're just going.
where you kind of get the attitude of, we're in it, we're not stopping, whatever happens is going to happen. Let's just try to have some fun with it and get some amazing shots.
Wow, that is so cool. I know you miss it. So it's like, when you had to like take a pause on everything because everything shut down and kind of came to Buffalo, what was like your first initial thought when you got back home?
It was kind of surreal because every time we come back, it's for a vacation now.
Mm-hmm.
And so like the vacation element kind of wore off.
Yeah.
And you get into like this weird rhythm again, and it's familiar, but it's different. It's like, okay, I remember doing this, but it was like a couple of years ago we were doing this. So it's like a weird familiarity, but I'm trying to not get too stuck in it, because it'll be that much harder to like get back into everything.
So you say you were working. Where are you working? I mean, fortunately, where were you able to find a job at?
So I'm just working with my dad's company. Just doing like warehouse work.
Mm-hmm.
And he was able to get me in because they were deemed an essential business, where he does like operations managing it.
Okay.
And so the situation with even essential businesses, if they're classified and they have to stay open, well, the people in it, they can still get sick. They can still, be told to stay home if they're not feeling well. So a lot of these businesses, like the supermarkets, the warehouses, like all these places still open, even though you would think like, okay, everybody's still working there. They've also seen reductions in their workforce,
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes up to like half, and they're all looking for people to work still too.
So at your dad's company or where you're at, do you have to deal with like different customers, or is it just you're only dealing with the people that work there?
It's only like if some people that work there,
Mm-hmm.
their staff is kind of reduced and people are working from home, because even though they're essential, they still have to have a certain amount of people working from home. So it's never even at like a half capacity.
Got it. Okay.
And they pretty much every company still has to take safety measures in terms of like splitting breaks up, splitting lunches up. When you are working, shifting all the work areas away from each other
Mhm.
just to keep the distancing and just kind of being smart about it.
What's the vibe like at work?
It's it's kind of strange because it's a really weird situation because you stay inside and everybody will talk, and even like when you're home, like you see everything on the news and your phone, and as soon as you go outside it feels like there's nothing going on. It
Yeah.
feels like there's not an issue, there's no problems, it's kind of normal. And then you go back inside and you're with people and it's they're just trying to make the best of the situation.
Mhm.
But it's weird because it's not like anything that's happened really before to anybody our age.
Think
I
any
mean,
of us living, anybody living, I don't know if, obviously, 2008, but this is a completely different situation. So I don't think anybody who's still alive today has seen anything like this.
yeah, it's like a really it's one of those things that you're taught in like history class, but it's happening in real time and everybody's connected during it and aware of it step by step and keeping their own tabs on it in certain ways. I know a lot of people are kind of starting to unplug or doing
Too much sometimes.
yeah, and it's I mean I do it all the time. Like even this weekend, like I'm like unplugging from my phone and just kind of like taking a nice weekend of quiet and
Mhm.
not dealing with it because yeah, like I was saying before, it's a different kind of stress that people aren't used to.
Yeah.
I mean, there's manageable stress and then there's like stuff you can't control and you just have to figure out. And like this is a weird mix of both. Like if you're on a set and things are going wrong, you can figure it out and you might get stressed, but there's a solution. And this is something where there's solutions, but they're long term. So everybody's kind of in this weird,
Out right now.
yeah, everybody's in this weird like, okay, I know what I have to do, but can't do it for 2 weeks, or I did it but it's going to take 2.5 weeks to get back to me in the mail or things like that.
What's been the hardest part for you, would you say?
um Probably just missing the work because I
Mhm.
was so close to starting. We got word of the cancellation on Thursday night and we were supposed to start on prepping on Monday
Monday.
at the warehouse or the rental house. And so it was like you're getting everything in your head planned and I was supposed to be on the road for the next 3.5, almost 4 months, um, flying and everything. And we got our team back together for the hometowns, which is kind of rare. Normally those teams move, but we just all hit it off at the same time, which is kind of crazy because it's like you're stuck with whoever you're working with in these hometowns and these travel ones. You're with those three other people for 4 months straight, basically in the car together, always together for even on your days off, like you're still together all the time. And so to find a group that like we hit it off right away. And so like we've been talking, we all stayed in touch too for the last year since the season ended, which is also kind of rare. And so we just were being hyped up and getting everybody like pumped and excited. And then like 3 days before we were supposed to leave, it got canceled.
That's like the thing that kind of messes up, your mindset. Or I think it's really, I mean, the people who aren't working, like who aren't making any money, that's a different level of stress where it's like you just don't even know how you're gonna make rent. And then there's also the other stress where it's like you kind of had things planned, like you had the next 3-4 months of your life planned. In my mind, I was like, I know how the rest of
Yeah.
the year is gonna go for me. And now it's like all these things that we had planned, whether it was, vacations or money that we were gonna make, different activities we were going to do. A lot of it is just like we're in the unknown now. Like we don't know when we can return back to doing these things, when stores and businesses will open back up, when we can return to work. So it's like it's like you have to keep pushing, but it's like you don't know, all right, in 2 weeks everything is fine. It's like nobody knows when they can go back to living the life that they were living before, which is like the thing that's kind of like messing me up, or a lot of people, is like we just don't know how long we're waiting for.
Yeah. And that's I think the weirdest part about it is like there's no end date. It's not like, and it's the strange part is too, it's happening to like the whole country at the same time. So it's not like there's a hurricane and there's, parts of a certain city are destroyed and they can give relief and it's going to take, a month before they can open the roads or this and that. It's like everybody has to take it day by day. And it's like, yeah, how do you plan for something? Like for right now, it's like, when can I go back to my apartment in LA? Is it in 2 weeks? If it starts to slow down, is it in a month from now when it's all clear, or if it's all clear in a month?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of, yeah, it's hard to try to think how to describe it. It's kind of hard to keep a positive mindset because you just don't know. But I think what really helps is like taking however much time you need to just kind of relax and like
Mm-hmm.
just kind of, I think once you accept what's going on, it's a lot easier to like, okay, well, it's going to pick back up at a certain point. And who knows, since every show and every TV series and movie, everything's shut down. Well, you would think that at a certain point after, there's going to be a boom of projects being made.
Yeah.
And so it's like, maybe now is a good time to finish the scripts you're working on, or get your treatments ready if you're going to pitch something. Or I know what I need to do is like finish some edits of things that I've been dragging my feet on.
Is that what you're working on now? Like besides going to work when you're at home, because it's not, you can't go out to a restaurant. What are you doing like during your downtime at home?
um well, right now I have a TV series that I'm trying to pitch around. I have a little bit left to finish up on the.
Scoop of what
I'm
it,
sorry.
are you able to give us a scoop of what it's about?
um
If not, that's fine. We know how.
yeah, it's trying to think how to describe it. It's a murder mystery set in a 1920s logging town in the redwood forest. So it's a specific period piece that I'm kind of been developing as a mini series. I'm not really sure how I want to do it yet, but
What who are you trying to pitch it to pick it up? Like what kind of network, or is it like a Netflix
um
thing or?
yeah, so it would be for like a Netflix, or I have a few connections here and there to send it to some junior readers who I'm going to try and use as a. I'm basically sending it to a few different people. I'm sending it to people that don't really work in the industry to get their thoughts on it.
Mhm.
Um, I basically made a whole pitch deck that outlines the entire series and every episode.
Yeah,
And so I want to get their thoughts on it, if the story makes sense, if certain things are weird or don't make sense, if it's even interesting. Does this episode work, or where'd you get bored? And then I want to send it to people also in the industry, and then in the industry, but very specific, who actually do script coverage and reading
got it.
and know what executives are looking for.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely key to know what they actually want.
Yeah, and I think you have to give a good spread, because executives or junior readers or people that know what their bosses want to put it on their desk and get it seen is one thing. But if it's not going to interest, my aunt who's, 70 or something, like you want to see a big spread. People that occasionally watch TV, is it something that they would tune into, or is it something that can grab everybody, or is it too specific to like the art house film industry?
Yeah, makes sense. Well, I mean, it's like now's the perfect time to work on all those things that you have, like projects that you needed to work on. You have the time because you're not, working on something else. It's like we have all the time now at home to finish editing, like you said, doing those treatments to prepare to send out to people once everything opens. I mean, do you have any other advice for, other filmmakers who are kind of in the same situation where it's like, they're not working, maybe they're not making money, but now they have this time?
Yeah, I would say it's now is the perfect time to practice everything that you want to get better at, or you need to even keep up. I
Mhm.
do a lot of grip work and like G&E, and I've done work with the American Society of Cinematographers. It's the ASC.
Yeah.
So like all the cinematographers in the movies that have the ASC after their name,
Mhm.
it's basically like their club of Hollywood cinematographers. They do master classes. And so when I moved to LA, I was fortunate enough to, after doing a few volunteer sessions, work those master classes. And you're getting firsthand experience working
Hey,
with
Vinny, I see you.
you're getting firsthand experience
Yeah.
working with the top of the top, and you're volunteering your time. And the thing is, though, is you're learning how to do everything the right way, the most professional way.
It's key. You can learn how to do stuff, but are you learning it the right way?
Are you learning it the right way? But also, if you do learn it the right way, it's a skill like anything else. If you don't keep up with it, it's going to disappear. And there's nothing, worse than doing something really cool like that and learning this great information.
Mhm.
You take 2 months off, and now you go to a different set, and you think you're Mr. Hot Stuff, and you're like, oh, I remember how to do that, and you totally do it wrong, and now everybody's looking at you like, what's this guy doing, kind of
Yeah.
thing. And so it's like, whatever you're interested in. Like, I know I'm going to be doing a lot of research on like more writing techniques and things specific to what I want to do. So like, not just how to write a script. It's more, um, what do executives want? Do they want pitch decks? Do they want treatments? Do they want, you know, just first 10 pages of a script? Like,
Mhm.
doing specific research to what you want to do, I think is really important.
Yeah. One of the last few things I want to touch on is like, I guess, mental health. Like, just in general, and this isn't even having to be related to working in the film industry, but mentally, how have you been like doing, like with your family or even with friends? Like, how have you been feeling?
Um, it's it's kind of interesting because I think our generation has I don't want to say it's a hard time taking things seriously, but there's been so much that's happened to our generation that we always have a positive or try to make a comedic outlook on everything.
Laugh about it. But I think
Yeah,
we're also serious too about like expressing our emotions or going to therapy. Like, all right, this is funny, but also like I just cried 5 minutes ago, So it's like
yeah.
you kind of have to balance.
It's like when we get mad, and when we get excited about something, we get excited, or we laugh about something, and that's kind of what's been happening here. It's like there's so many ups and downs, and it's like you'll have one group chat with some friends that a new article comes out and everybody gets really upset and really nervous and they don't know what to think. And you might have one friend whose parents have health conditions, and it's like, hey man, like let's just go for a walk somewhere and do something, and you can't see like one of your best friends.
Yeah.
But at the same time too, we're also more connected than ever. So I've been seeing like huge amount of group FaceTimes and group chats and things like that. And
Nothing else to do.
there's nothing else to do, and it's an interesting time because I think it's bringing everybody even closer together too. And so I know everybody's just kind of taking it day by day. Like some days they watch too much news, or you hear some bad numbers come up from the news or the radio, and it freaks you out and it kind of puts you a weird cloud over your day. And then other days it's like, yeah, you unplug and you go and work on a puzzle that you haven't done a puzzle in 10 years, and you're like, wow, you just find something new to do and find something different to cheer you up. Or
Yeah. I think it's important to, like you said, you're gonna like just step away from your phones and stuff. I think it's kind of important for everybody to just know what they can handle. And then if it's too much, just really take away. And like one of the biggest things that's for me is like I just want people to make sure that they're taking it serious and like practicing social distance. And like when this is over, I mean, I don't know about, well, I kind of want to hear, what do you think will be um we'll do two things in our industry and then just in general, the two biggest changes do you think, like once we come out of this coronavirus pandemic, what do you think is going to be the biggest change that we see in our industry and then the biggest change just in general? And then we'll end it there.
I think in the industry, I think there's going to be a lot more camaraderie and people banding together. Sometimes the industry can be very isolating.
Oh,
There's little pockets and groups of people, and
the
those
elite
pockets,
or
yeah, those pockets get just their friends on, and their pockets, will help this guy out, but not this guy, or things are very closed off. But I think because everybody's out of work, I think what you're going to see, hopefully you're going to see, is once kind of the ban or the, I don't even know what you want to call it really, the lockdowns are lifted and the industry gets back up and running. I think it's going to be a lot of people of like, okay, well, X person went back home or they got a different job doing something. They're not available. Who do you have on your list that can do it? Let me talk to a few of my friends and talk to a few people I know that would be good. I think it's going to happen like that. And it's really going to kind of spread out. And hopefully people will be getting phone calls that might not have gotten before, or a lot of those opportunities will pop up.
for people.
And, this industry is all about not only getting those opportunities, but really capitalizing on them, because one opportunity can really launch your whole career if done right.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's what happened with me. Is one of my friends from back in college, they all a few of them actually moved to LA. When I got out there, it's just a casual. He puts my name in with a friend, and the next year I got offered Ninja, and from Ninja Warrior, I got offered that Russia show in
It just
the
keeps.
next season, and now it's just kind of like slowly. It's slow, but it's if you do everything right and you stay in touch with the right people and keep your connections good,
Yeah.
it just slowly builds from there. So I'm hoping that happens for a lot of people,
Yeah.
whether it's union stuff or
Non-union, just whatever.
non-union. Yeah, because I mean, like Ninja Warriors union, but I'm not union, and the position I have is non-union for it. But since I'm working on the union show, there's always an opportunity down the road that if
Be able to get into the union.
yeah, yeah, and like maybe on the other team, down the road, they know that I've been competent and can do it and can throw you an opportunity. Or people would be surprised how many non-union shows are actually out there.
Yeah, that they just don't know about. I guess last thing, what do you think is going to be the biggest change? In the U.S. or in the world after this?
Um,
Because things aren't going to be the same. So,
yeah, I think two things are going to happen. One, I think it's going to be a little technology shift. I
mhm.
think people are going to kind of realize like at least for certain companies and ways, it's going to be like, well, most of this stuff can be done online or remotely, and maybe there's a way now we can just move forward with like new technology and really kind of, I don't know, I feel like a lot of companies are very outdated and they don't try to push anything forward,
They won't
whether it's
have the ability. They can't be outdated anymore after this.
yeah. And I think what's you're going to see is this kind of shift of, I think the biggest thing that I've seen from people online right now is, what did these companies do for their employees after?
Yeah.
Company A CEO, gave up his salary for the next 4 months to pay all his employees instead of laying them off. Well, company B didn't even offer them pay time off. And, I've heard of certain companies even keeping everybody on their
They,
payroll, but giving them 0 hours. Now those people can't even apply for unemployment insurance.
that's
Yeah, and certain things like that. And so it's like, I think you're going to see a big shift of how companies start treating their
mhm.
employees. And I think people are going to really kind of start standing up to the companies
Yeah.
and being like, well, yeah, like I can do it from home. You don't even value my time being there. Why am I putting in these hours when I can do the same job in half the time from home?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think you're going to see a lot of changes, and I don't know everything that's going to happen, but it's going to be like BC and AC. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just taking it one day at a time, and just trying to stay mentally sound and figure it all out. But I just want to say thank you so much for
Oh
chatting
yeah,
with
thank
me.
you.
And hopefully after this, once we all get back to work, we can chat again to see like I should do a follow-up and see what you guys are doing now and how things have changed for you. So I really do appreciate your time. Make sure you stay safe, practice. I know you're still at work, but make sure you're practicing, social distancing and everything. So thank
Oh
you.
yeah, thank you. Yeah. The one thing too is social distancing. Like you can go out on walks, you can go on hikes and stuff. It's the perfect time to go.
So just don't be around a ton of people, but get some
Don't
air.
don't be around a ton of people, but it's a perfect time to practice your photography if people are interested.
Huh.
I went, and it's like the perfect hobby for filmmakers and people to get, whether you know your camera stuff or you're not. It's a different skill that most people don't really practice enough because it's different from cinematography and stuff. It's like going out and taking photos. It trains your eye in a different way. And
No,
so I know I went out the other day and it was mentally so relaxing to
yeah.
just like go around downtown Buffalo with no people and just my camera.
That's a great tip. We got to leave the people with that one. It's definitely go practice your photography or like just get out, go be alone, look at nature, look at the water. So thank
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course, you stay safe, okay? And I'll catch up with you.
Yep, thanks. You too.
Bye, Vinny.
Bye.